As I sit here behind the wheel, cruising down a familiar road, I can't help but feel a sense of wonder. At 87, I'm still driving, still living life fully, and honestly, I feel healthier than many people half my age. Sure, I have my aches and pains here and there, but overall, I'm doing better than I ever imagined possible when I was younger. It wasn't always this way, though. When I was in my 40s and 50s, I began noticing the subtle signs of aging, the stiffness in my joints, the lack of energy at the end of the day, and the constant nagging that came with just getting older. People around me would say, "It's just age catching up with you," as if it was inevitable, like a freight train you couldn't escape. But I didn't believe that. I couldn't believe that. I started questioning this so-called aging process that everyone seemed to accept as inevitable. Was it really all about getting weaker, sicker, and eventually giving up on the things I loved? Or was there a way to fight back, to not just survive as I got older, but thrive? Today, as I look at my reflection in the rearview mirror, I realize that I've been able to achieve something far beyond my expectations. I'm 87 years old, still healthy, still active, still in control of my life, and I haven't been sick in over 40 years. No colds, no flu, no major illnesses. But it didn't happen by chance, and it certainly didn't happen overnight. There are a few habits I've stuck to, day in and day out, that have made all the difference. These habits didn't just come into my life all at once, but slowly as I realized how crucial they were to my well-being. The first one, and perhaps the most important, was a shift in my mindset. It wasn't enough to simply acknowledge my age. I had to actively change my thinking. I wasn't about to accept that I would naturally start to slow down, that my body would begin to betray me as so many people said it would. No, I refused to let age define me, and the key to that was my mindset. As I've gotten older, I've realized just how powerful the mind is in shaping the life we live. You see, when you believe you're old, your body starts to behave that way. If you tell yourself that you can't do something because you're too old, your mind will make sure that your body follows suit. But if you push back, if you tell yourself you're still capable, you're still strong, your mind sends that message to your body, and your body will respond. It took me a long time to learn that, but once I understood it, it became clear that this was the foundation for everything. If I wanted to remain healthy, to remain active, I had to believe it was possible, no matter what my birth certificate said. This mindset shift didn't just stop with my daily routine, it impacted the way I viewed life in general. I began to think of age not as a limitation, but as a challenge to overcome. Every year that passed was an opportunity to prove that I could continue to live the life I wanted to live, to keep growing, to keep improving. So I began to push myself in small ways every single day. I started learning new things, how to use a smartphone, how to access all the amazing resources on the internet. I picked up hobbies I'd never had the time for before, and the more I engaged with life, the more energized I felt. You don't stop living just because the years pile up. The truth is, the more you engage your mind, the more you find ways to stay active and excited about life, the younger you feel. This shift in mindset, this refusal to let age define me, has been at the core of everything. Along with a healthy mindset, I came to realize the importance of staying hydrated. Now, you might think that's a given, but let me tell you, hydration is something that most people overlook. When I hit my 50s, I started noticing that I didn't feel as sharp or energetic as I used to. My muscles ached a little more, and I felt sluggish during the day. At first, I thought it was just a sign of getting older, but then I realized something. I wasn't drinking enough water. Sure, I'd have a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe a glass of tea in the afternoon, but I wasn't paying attention to my body's true needs. Once I made the conscious effort to drink water throughout the day, everything changed. My energy levels picked up, my skin looked better, and most importantly, I felt like I had the stamina to do the things I loved, without getting exhausted after just an hour or two. The difference was night and day. Now I never go anywhere without my water bottle. I make sure to drink regularly throughout the day, and it's become such a habit that it feels strange if I'm not staying properly hydrated. You wouldn't believe how much a simple thing like drinking enough water can do for you, your energy, your skin, your digestion, your mental clarity. It's truly a game changer. But drinking water wasn't enough. I realized I also needed to take a hard look at my diet. And let me tell you, I've never been a fan of restrictive diets. When I was younger, I heard people talk about fad diets all the time, but I never bought into them. I didn't want to count every calorie or obsess over every bite of food. Instead, I focused on eating real, wholesome food. Foods that nourished my body and gave me the fuel I needed to keep going. I made sure to eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. I found that a balanced diet was the key, not extremes, but balance. I learned how to cook simple, nutritious meals that made me feel good without being too complicated or time-consuming. And you know what? It worked. Over time, I noticed that my energy levels were more consistent, my mood was better, and I felt lighter, both physically and mentally. Eating well became a natural part of my routine. I wasn't depriving myself of the things I loved, but I was being mindful of what I was putting into my body. I stopped eating junk food regularly, cut down on processed foods, and made more room for fresh, wholesome meals. That balance is what keeps me going, day after day. But diet and hydration alone weren't enough to keep me in shape. I knew I needed to stay physically active if I wanted to remain healthy in my later years. And when I hit 60, I knew it was time to take action. I couldn't just rely on walking around the house or doing chores. I needed something more. So I started a daily walking routine. Nothing too crazy, just a brisk walk around the block to start with. But over time, I found myself craving movement. I added in a little light stretching, some yoga, and even a bit of strength training with dumbbells. I didn't have to push myself to the limit, but I made sure to keep moving. And guess what? It worked. My joints felt better, my muscles were stronger, and my mind was clearer. Staying active has been one of the most important habits I've kept up over the years. Now it's just part of my daily life. I don't even think twice about it. Of course, staying active wasn't just about physical exercise. It was about staying social too. As we get older, it's easy to become isolated. People start to lose touch, and they think they don't need to be around others as much anymore. But I knew that isolation could be a silent killer. I refused to let myself fall into that trap. I made it a point to stay connected with my friends and family, even if it was just a phone call or a cup of coffee. I joined groups, went to events, and made sure I was always engaging with others. The benefits of staying social have been incredible. It keeps me mentally sharp, emotionally fulfilled, and most importantly, it makes life more enjoyable. Laughter, conversation, and connection with others have been a major part of my long, healthy life. Another habit I adopted as I grew older was mindfulness. No, I'm not talking about long hours of meditation, though I do believe in the benefits of that. For me, it was about taking time every day to slow down, breathe, and reflect. As life gets faster and more chaotic, it's easy to get caught up in everything happening around you. But I realized that taking just a few minutes to pause, center myself, and breathe deeply made all the difference. It reduced my stress, improved my mental clarity, and allowed me to enjoy each moment a little more fully. Whether it was a few minutes of quiet reflection in the morning or just closing my eyes for a moment before bed, mindfulness became a cornerstone of my well-being. And finally, embracing life itself became my most powerful habit. It wasn't just about staying healthy in body and mind, it was about living fully. At 87, I'm still taking trips, still driving, still trying new things. I refuse to let fear or age hold me back. Every day is an opportunity to experience something new, to learn something different, to challenge myself in small ways. Whether it's exploring a new part of town, picking up a new hobby, or just trying something I've never done before, I've learned that life doesn't end when you hit a certain age. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. So when people ask me how I've managed to stay so healthy, so full of life, the answer is simple. Consistency, habits, and a refusal to let age limit me. It's not about some secret miracle or magic formula. It's about making small, meaningful changes that compound over time. It's about taking care of yourself, mind and body, and never giving up on life. To sum it up, staying healthy and active as you age comes down to consistent habits and a mindset that refuses to let age define you. It's about staying engaged with life, keeping your body moving, eating well, staying connected, and taking care of your mind. There's no magic trick, just making small daily choices that add up over time, proving that age doesn't have to slow you down and that with the right attitude, you can thrive at any stage of life.